Good evening. My name is Cliff Edson, and this is Inside View. And I'm here tonight with Martin Huberty. He's the Executive Director of the Calaveras Visitors Bureau and Film Commission. And hello, Martin. How are you tonight?
Good. Thank you for having me, Cliff.
Good. Why don't we start by telling us something about yourself?
I was born and raised in Sacramento, and I went to high school in Sacramento and then moved to Lake Tahoe. And I was educated at a Jesuit high school there and then went to UC Davis.
Great. And so what made you decide to come up here, Martin?
Calaveras County has always been very near and dear to my heart. My family comes, from my father's side, comes from Calaveras. And as a young boy, I came out almost every weekend to the family ranch on 4th Crossing, and was with my great uncles. And my grandmother had a cabin. We were lucky enough to go up to her cabin at Lake Alpine. So to me, Calaveras County has always been a magical place. It was a magical place to grow up. I have amazing memories of the peppermint stick in Murphy's. My great uncles would, when you're out at the ranch and it was 110 degrees in the summertime and you're out running around, and they would take me into the barn, and they had a old Chinese jug that was wrapped in burlap that they kept wet, and inside was cool water, and to them that was the biggest treat. And I was like, no, I want to go to Murphy's and get an ice cream cone, thank you. And they would drive me up to the peppermint stick. But I had a little go-kart, and I helped with chores, and it was just a really amazing place to be a kid. And I mean, that was back in the days where you were told to go out and come back when the sun goes down. And you know, now as an adult, you realize you know, why they were so upset when you were jumping in the hay barn and to look out for the rattlesnakes. I'm like, nah, there's no problem. Calaveras has always been a magical place, and some place I always wanted to come back. And quite honestly, I feel more at home here than I do anywhere else. So this is it.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you here. I've met with you before at our San Andreas Rotary Club when you gave a presentation. That was real gracious of you to come and talk to us. And so how about we go into a discussion on your vision for Calaveras County?
I've always felt, as I was saying, that Calaveras is a magical place and that people should really come and enjoy it. And you know, if you look at the numbers that we get at the CVB, the Calaveras Visitors Bureau, people come to Calaveras for its natural beauty. And actually, I'll bring this up. This was my great-great-grandmother on my father's mother's side, and her name was Harriet Kirtland. And she traveled to Calaveras in 1857. And she traveled up to the big trees and danced on the stoop. And the reason why I bring her up is that she wrote a diary. And for all intents and purposes, I consider it the first travel log or one of the first travel logs of Calaveras. And in it, she described the beauty, the natural beauty of Calaveras. And it's no different than today. I think people who haven't seen the Sierras, who haven't seen the lakes, the rivers, the foothills, everything that Calaveras has to offer, they still have the same reaction. And it's just one of awe. And it's why people still come. It's the number one reason people come to Calaveras. And I suppose my vision is to continue that. My parents always brought friends from, you know, out of the state, out of the country, to Calaveras to show them the big trees, to show them the caverns, the lakes. It's just a unique experience. And I suppose my vision for Calaveras is to maintain that, is to bring people here and to give them that little bit of wonder. I'd also, you know, really like to focus on bringing people who engage in our community and who, you know, go to our museums and know our history and or want to learn about our history at least, and you know, shop and eat here and you know, not just drive up and sort of hike around, throw their garbage out, and then drive back home.
Yeah.
So that's I mean, my vision is one. The last time I was here was with Lisa Bolton, and Lisa held this position for 7 years and did a brilliant job. She left some big boots to fill, and I feel that you know, she set up a beautiful way of marketing to the, you know, digitally and we're maintaining that. I suppose if I had any vision to add to that, I would like to really talk more to people that live locally, because I think especially now we're going to be seeing a lot of people that are not going to be traveling to Europe, that are not going to be traveling out of state. They're going to want to get away to some place that's they feel safe and that's outdoors. And we've got that in spades here. And I think that we will see a lot of local traffic, day trippers. And again, my vision is to accommodate those people in the best way that we know how. I think our businesses are doing an amazing job through this. It's not been easy for anybody, but I go back to my family and listening to my great uncles. I mean, there have been times that it's been very difficult here in Calaveras County. I mean, this isn't the first thing that's ever hit the county, and I think there's a certain resiliency to the people who live here. I've always felt that the people that choose to live here have a little bit of that pioneer spirit left in them. I don't think you'd live here otherwise. So I suppose, going back to what the vision is just to keep people coming, people who engage in our community and appreciate where we live.
Yeah, it's beautiful here. Even when things are kind of shut down, you could always just walk out in your backyard and take a look up, and you can see, the beautiful area that we live in.
Yeah, I mean, it's stunning, and I feel badly because since our shelter in place, I mean, especially as the executive director of the Visitors Bureau, telling people that they can't come, and we were putting out radio spots saying please don't come. I mean, obviously the first port of call is making sure that all the locals are safe and taken care of, and as things start to open up, we just need to make sure that we're looking out for everybody. And I know that in most businesses will be placing placards out in front of their business, and if they ask you to put on a mask, we're going to ask our visitors to put on a mask, and if they don't require it, then that's fine too. I think everybody has a different take on this. I just think that I mean, as everybody thinks, we just need to go forward safely for the community.
Sure, I know that COVID has had a huge impact on our county. Of course, the lack of folks that are coming up here and visiting, the businesses that had to shut down, and even the lakes and the recreational areas. I mean, that's all a huge impact because most of our economy is around all of this beautiful area that we have.
Yeah, I mean, tourism is the #1 driver of our economy here.
Tourism and recreation.
Yes, and it needs to be championed, and we need to get on track here. Having said that, I really do think that we will see a lot of traffic this summer. I'm hoping. I think it'll start slowly now. I mean, we're going. This is being taped and not released till next week, but I've just received information that we are going into stage 3 as of Friday the 12th. So that will loosen things up tremendously. With that, we're going to reopen the Visitors Bureau. We're going to be here for people who are calling. What I will say is in the last week and a half, I've been working out of the office, and actually I'll take a segue here for a second and just say that we furloughed everybody. I had to furlough everybody, including myself, because it made no sense to keep the Visitors Bureau open during this time, during lockdown. Obviously we didn't want or need visitors at that point. And so we are coming back. Starting next week, we'll have a presence, an open presence, and be inviting people to come back in. And I do think that we're going to see a tremendous amount of traffic. The calls, as I was saying before I went off on a tangent, for the last week and a half have been mainly people calling that know Calaveras, that want to come back, and they're asking what's open. So I think that we're going to see a lot of people who know Calaveras, love Calaveras, come back, and they want to go to natural bridges. They want to drive up Highway 4. They want to spread their arms and get some fresh air after being cooped up for such a long period of time.
Yeah, we have a lot of resources here. We have how many lakes do we have in the county?
Oh, there's Comanche, Pardee, Hogan, Utica, Union Spicer, I think is in Tuolumne, but we'll take it anyway. Alpine's in Alpine, but we'll take it anyway.
Yeah.
We'd speak to all of them.
We have New Maloney's.
Yeah, of course, the biggest one right next to our office, and I left it out. along the Highway 49 corridor, there's an organization called the Gold Country Visitors Association, and we're all very close. The people that run all the visitor centers along Highway 49 have a great organization. And I speak a lot to Amador and to Tuolumne. And I guess when you're talking about lakes, I mean, we kind of share everything, and we share information, and I hope to be partnering with both Tuolumne and Amador going forward to market, day trips, get people to come for day trips, hopefully weekends, but and we're not going to be shooting much further than Sacramento, the Bay Area, Modesto, Stockton. I mean, I think that's going to be our market. Those are going to be the people that are going to want to come.
Well, I think they've been cooped up long enough, and I don't think they're going to be taking trips.
Yeah.
So, we also have the McCollum River and the Stanislaus, right?
Yes, which are huge. Yes.
Huge, and beautiful places to go hiking and fishing and all kinds of good stuff.
Well, and the Arnold Rim Trail, I mean, that's a brilliant place to go hiking, and with Top of the World and the Cougar Rock and the falls, and it's a perfect time of year for that too. Mm-hmm. I mean, just before we start heating up too much.
Great. So that sounds like, I didn't even think of that. I'm a business owner here, and I didn't realize that through this whole COVID thing, people have been locked down in the Bay Area or even in the Sacramento area.
Yeah.
And they're ready to get out, and we are the place to land.
Yeah.
We really are. We are the place to visit. Can you tell me a little bit about your film commission side of things?
Yeah, so my background is mainly, my career was in film. I produced with for a guy named John Avnet and Jordan Kerner, two guys that had Avnet Kerner Productions, and John Avnet was famous for Risky Business. He found Tom Cruise and produced Risky Business with Paul Brickman directing. And I, through a series of very strange events, ended up in Los Angeles and wanted to get into the film industry. And I knew one person who worked at an agency, and through her I was able to find John and Jordan. In any case, I joined with them, and they were doing a movie called Less Than Zero, and which at the time was the biggest thing going in LA. And it was an amazing film to work on, and it was lots of fun and the true LA experience. And then I just kept on with the company. We did movies like Fried Green Tomatoes, Up Close and Personal, Red Corner, all the Mighty Ducks movies, When a Man Loves a Woman. I mean, we did 25 movies. I worked 12 years, I think. And then I jumped off and did my own movie, which I directed in England and Morocco. And then ended up going off on another tangent, as I seem to do. And I'm still working on film. I still have a couple of scripts. I've got one right now with John, which will hopefully someday shoot in Calaveras County, if I can pull it off. But using film as an example of how it sort of meshes with the tourist department, doing Fried Green Tomatoes, we went into a town that was completely derelict. I don't know if you know what kudzu is, but it's like a vine that overtakes everything in the South, and it's invasive. It just grows through houses that have been abandoned, what have you, and you can actually in the summertime watch it grow. It grows that fast. I mean, it's incredible. In any case, this town was covered in dilapidated, abandoned buildings. Most of them had kudzu, all through them, and there was one old lady that lived in the town. That was it. And it was perfect for Whistle Stop. So we spent the time developing that town and building it up and actually creating the Whistle Stop Cafe. We actually somebody had taken the train depot out of town and turned it into a house, but then it was for sale, so we were able to buy it and bring it back into the town and put it right by the railroad tracks where it used to be. An amazing experience, but the reason why I'm saying all of this is it became a tourist destination. People wanted to come to Whistle Stop because of the movie, and since 1991, people have stopped in Juliet, Georgia, to go to the Whistle Stop Cafe. And filming was huge in Calaveras County in the 40s and 50s. Sal Manna did a lot of research at the archives. I mean, he's brilliant, and went through all the newspaper articles and pulled out things that nobody knew or remembered about filming in Calaveras County. And there's a great history of filming here in the county. And one of the benefits, and I always try to look at everything as a positive, is that in a post-COVID world, I don't know that production's going to want to go too far away from Los Angeles. So now's the time to build a good website, to get location managers. And funny enough, we had a location manager scout arranged, and we had to cancel it because of COVID. And that was we were inviting 6 location managers, top location managers out of Los Angeles, to come up and visit Calaveras and Tuolumne County. And we'll do that now that we're opening up again, because they're the ones that need to see the locations. They're the ones that then convince a producer or a director, hey, you've got to go film here. And we have what filming needs. We have 1,000 square acres, a lot of which hasn't got any electrical wires, has got dirt roads. So if you want to do a period piece, or you want to do a piece that that doubles for Tuscany, you can film in Calaveras County. Calaveras County has doubled for Connecticut, if you can believe it. We have a lot to offer, and with our services, one of the biggest sort of things that you look for in filming is making sure that your crew has got enough to do when they're not filming. And we've got amazing restaurants. We've got recreation. Anything that you'd need to make a major motion picture, you've got here in Calaveras. It's just we need to get the cameras up here and get them rolling.
Yeah, well, we're also centrally located, very close to everything.
Yeah.
So the transportation is good.
Yeah.
And it's not too far from LA to come up here
Major
and do
airport,
something like
well,
that. So.
And to be the last director that I had come look at Calaveras flew right out of LAX into Merced, and then you have that beautiful drive from Merced, which is an hour and 15, hour and a half to probably an hour and 15 to the county line. But they're in paradise. Yeah. They get out of LA, and then all of a sudden they're on that drive, and they see the hills and the grass and the mountains in the background. It's majestic.
Hey, holy cow, it is real.
It is real, yeah. And we just need to get it up on the big screen.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't talk about this, and I'd love to jump in if I could.
Sure.
In coming back from this post-COVID world, I don't think it's going away anywhere quickly, but we would like to redo some of our branding. And the reason for this is going back to the original frog that came from the 1928, the first frog jump. And the reason is that that's the authentic part of the brand, and it gives us something at the Visitors Bureau to talk about when people say, well, why this frog? And it gives the intro for us to then talk about the frog jump and what it means, and Mark Twain and his history with the county and why he made this county famous. But it also incorporates the cavern, the big trees, the giant sequoias, the mountains, the lakes. We haven't really worked in a river there, but it gives you an idea that Calaveras is really about being outside and that natural beauty.
Well, we certainly have a lot of frogs, that's for sure.
Yeah, and again, I've been working with Lori at the fairgrounds, and hopefully next year's frog jump, we had some things in sort of motion for this year, and unfortunately that went away. But hopefully next year you'll see a frog jump bigger than you've ever seen it.
That's really great. I'm actually very excited about what you're talking about. It feels like we can be alive again.
Well, again, I think it's a way of looking at everything positively. I mean, because ultimately we're forced to make some major changes in the way that the Visitors Bureau operates. But again, I'm looking at that as a positive, and yeah, we aren't going to go back to the way. We can't go back to the way that we were running beforehand, and I don't think that a lot of businesses can. I think that we have to start thinking out of the box and sort of redefining how we do business. And what's been wonderful too is all of these Zoom webinars and Zoom meetings and what have you, that you don't have to travel. A lot of my job was traveling to different parts of the country to talk to industry experts and what have you. And now that we can just connect in an hour and you don't have to travel, I mean, yes, there is the nice part about the one-on-one, but actually I've been able to get a lot of information, and these practically 3 months of downtime haven't really been down for me. I've been trying to learn as much as possible and to see what other people are doing, so make sure that we're on track. Again, I think we're in a better position than most people in that our destination has what everybody's looking for at this point in time.
Yeah, it sure does. And it's we have a good supply of water in our reservoirs.
Yeah,
that's really great.
Yeah.
Hey, when you came to our Rotary meeting, we talked about where you moved.
Yeah.
And the effort that you put in on redoing.
Oh,
why don't you talk about that a little bit?
So This actually comes on the heels of growing up and being so attached to the ranch house on Fourth Crossing, and you know, that was everything to me. And my grandmother's cabin up at Alpine, that was, again, everything. And both in the late '80s were sold. When the great uncles passed away in their '90s, my great uncle Walter lived in the house, the ranch house out on Fourth Crossing, every day of his life. I think he spent 3 nights of his life outside that house, which is incredible to me. In any case, it was such a loss, and I always felt that I wanted to come back to Calaveras. And I mean, not to make a long story longer, but my father had put a lot of the things away and was paying for storage, and on things from the ranch and historic things from the gold rush that the family had saved, and I didn't want, when my father passed away, I didn't want to pay storage on it, so I got a big container and I put it out on the ranch and filled it. And then after doing a movie, I thought, you know, I should really go up and deal with that stuff. And it was when I came back that the magic just hit me, and I thought, why am I not living here? Why am I not? So I literally, one day I went into Century 21 in Murphy's, and Leanne Ashwanden, who was a lovely lady, unfortunately she's passed, but she said, you know, I said, it's got to be funky, it's got to be old, it's got to be something. And she said, well, you know, there's this old powerhouse up the road. And I drove up the road and saw it, and it was a dilapidated powerhouse. And I was fortunate enough to be able to buy it. And it is the 4th oldest powerhouse west of the Mississippi. It was built in 1897 to 99. It is, for me, it's the pyramids of California, because the walls are 3 feet thick of rhyolite, and it was a real engineering masterpiece. And it was decommissioned in '49, and I believe one of the Pelton wheels, 2 of them are at the Angels Camp Museum, but I think that one that came out of that building is still working down in Angels Camp. And in any case, the building itself was decommissioned in 1952 and then was sat empty. And somewhere in the late '70s, it became Party Central, and it was completely derelict and destroyed. I mean, it was graffitied, it was burned, the roof was shot up, it was just a mess. And yeah, so it was a project. It took a couple of years, but I'm hugely proud of it. And I love being there, I love living there. And it's nice that you know, that a piece of Calaveras was not, I don't want to say saved, but was made pretty again. Let's put it that way. Reborn. There you go. That's right. And I feel that way about our history. I think that history is so important, and I'd like to see. I know, you know, I'd like to see our museums, and that's one of the things I'm trying to work on with the Visitors Bureau, is get our museums to work more closely together to create the Gold Rush experience. Because I think there are a lot of amazing things in this county that nobody knows about. I mean, one being right down the street, on Main Street, I think the San Andreas Museum, our county museum, is the gem of Calaveras. And how many people know about it and go to it? Not enough, in my estimation. And hopefully in the way that we're reshuffling things, we'll be making a difference here in San Andreas shortly. Hold me to that, will you?
Oh, I will.
But you know, there's the logging museum. There's the wonderful little museum at Big Trees. There's even Ironstone has a little museum. You know that should,
I've been there.
Yeah, and everybody should know about them.
That's
because
a great museum
ultimately,
too.
People, if they're interested in one museum, they're going to be interested in others. Yeah. And I think if we had like a little history trail, so that's one of the projects that we're working on, and trying to again engage people in who we are and how we came about and what this area is all about.
Well, we definitely have a lot of history up here for the history buffs, and you know, a lot of beautiful old buildings. Yeah. The museums are great. The one here in town is awesome.
It's awesome. And
then right down, only I think it's one or two doors down, is the archives.
Yes, and I think more people in our county should know about the archives. I mean, Sal, who I've met at the archives many a time, is so helpful, and it's so interesting. I have a personal vestige in that building, because that's what the Hubertys used to own it and run it as the American restaurant. So I'm a result as to actually what happened in that building, I think however many years ago. But the archives itself are amazing, and I love just going in, and you can go through the files and look at all the various families and I'd like to keep our file updated too, so people know, you know, hopefully, you know, my nephews and on down the line will be able to go in and see their history as well.
Well, I actually know one of your relatives.
Uh-oh, which one?
Shirley.
Oh, Shirley, yes.
And she's a relative, and maybe you can explain who she was married to.
Okay, this is difficult because ultimately there is a kink in the chain that I have to figure out, and I've always said that I would, and I haven't done it yet. The original Huberty that came is John Huberty, and he came in 1854, and he actually went to McCullomy Hill first, and then was in Chili Gulch, and then ended up in San Andreas. And he married a woman named Maria Teresa Burkhart, okay, and she had 5 children, and she unfortunately passed away having her 5th, and he sent back for relatives to come, in which his father came, so that makes me the 6th generation that's lived in Calaveras County. In any case, he remarried and had 8 more children. So I'm descended from the first wife, first child, and I believe George and Joe were the second wife, but I need to verify that. In any case, Shirley married Topper, that's right, and amazing lady. I mean, she's done so much for this county.
Absolutely.
And after I came on board, I met with her, and so many brilliant ideas. There just aren't enough hours in the day.
And extremely involved in our county library too.
Yes. Yes,
So,
which is brilliant. But again, she is so interested in doing sort of a community. I don't know how to explain.
Beautification.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm right on that. Except for I want to make a good county beautification.
Yes. Well, you got to start
For visitors,
everywhere.
there are things that could be. I mean, there's a lot of character around town, but again, you want to make sure that it's not an eyesore, not just character. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got to tell you that it goes through its moments.
Yeah.
I think we're on the upswing now.
Yeah.
And I believe that you're going to help out tremendously.
I'm going to do my best.
Yeah.
I'll do my best, and yeah, I love working hard, and I think hard work pays off. So yeah, we'll see the results of it here.
Well, I'm hoping that a lot of people will watch this interview so that they can get as enthused as I've gotten from listening to you.
Thank you.
This is the second time actually, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results. I love your energy.
Thank you. Well, please, and the CVB is open to everybody. So anybody with any ideas or thoughts, I love talking to people, visiting people, traveling around the county to see how we can make it better for our visitors as well as locals. Because again, the mantra is a great place to live is a great place to work is a great place to visit.
That's right.
And you got to build all 3 of those to make it
right.
happen.
Well, thank you, Martin.
Thank you
for coming and talking to us tonight and talking to the county of Calaveras, and we look forward to seeing greater things come and with your help.
Thank you. Well, I look forward to coming back and hopefully reporting back.
All right, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening.